Hello everyone, welcome back to IRL.Q. It has been a hot minute since I made a video, especially a sit-down video like this. It's probably been close to a year since I've done a sit-down talking video, which is kind of crazy to think about, honestly. But I decided, I know I'm a month late, but I decided that I do want to start making some sit-down videos on YouTube again. So this is actually the first one of 2026, which is kind of exciting. I don't know if you can see that well on the camera, but I dyed the underneath of my hair blue. I tried to dye the top like my natural brown, but it washed out like immediately. So that's great. But I'm kind of loving the aquamarine underneath. It's giving Miku. I love it. But hair aside, I have been going through a ton of change lately. Uninvited and unasked for change. First of all, my relationship of over 2 years ended very abruptly, which in turn had me moving back in with my parents, which is where I'm at now. I graduated from aesthetic school and I started a new job. There's just been a little bit too much change in my life lately. And it's led me to feel like I've lost my footing, my grounding, and I've just been feeling a bit directionless in my life. I have kind of been in a constant state of fight or flight since October. And due to that chronic stress, that chronic fight or flight, I feel like my nervous system is just all kinds of dysregulated. I'm just not the type of person who copes with change very well. And I realized that I have been overstimulating my brain as a coping mechanism. And what I mean by that is I cannot eat without a YouTube video on. I cook with YouTube on, I read with YouTube on, I go to sleep listening to YouTube, I wake up listening to YouTube, I listen to YouTube while I journal, literally all day. And I realized that subconsciously I have been not allowing myself to think.
I don't have to think.
Because thinking is just very painful right now. And in doing that, I inadvertently avoided the activation of my default mode network. What is the default mode network? You may be asking. I was asking the same thing when I started researching this, okay? So that ice maker kills me, bro. It is so loud. Oh, she's gone. The default mode network basically activates when your brain is understimulated. The key functions of the default mode network include self-reflecting, daydreaming, reminiscing on the past, comprehending how other people's emotions translate on their face, their thoughts, what they're saying, and most importantly for today's conversation, introspection. When the default mode network is activated, you are more likely to think about existential questions like, what is my purpose and what is the meaning of life? Things like that. You're more likely to think about those cringe decisions you made 6 years ago. How you went in for a high five when they were trying to shake your hand, things like that. That will pop up when your default mode network is activated. Which is why when you're going to sleep, you may have these cringe thoughts of things you did in the past. Or you might have these existential questions that you're pondering. Same thing like when you're in the shower or just folding laundry without anything in the background, you get creative ideas. You might think about your past, your future, etc. For the past 3 to 4 months, I have been completely avoiding the activation of my default mode network. And I've been doing that through intentional overstimulation. I mean, I'm sure I am not the only one who has done this. And honestly, I say intentional, but at the beginning, I didn't know why I was doing it. It was intentional, but I didn't know why I felt the need to spend 8 hours on Instagram or constantly have a YouTube video playing. But when I really think about it, it was easier to distract myself from thinking about these things than actually facing them. I'm sure anyone who has gone through a breakup, especially if it was a serious relationship, knows how hard it is to face those emotions, those thoughts, your memories, everything. But when we chronically circumvent the activation of our default mode network, it becomes progressively harder to think about those questions, those tough topics. Studies show that chronic overstimulation actually leads to higher leshels? What's a leshel? Studies show that chronic overstimulation actually leads to higher levels of depression and anxiety, which is great as someone who already struggles with both of those things. So the combination of massive amounts of change in my life combined with the overstimulation has led me to just feel this hollowness and despair and directionlessness. And I'm so sick of it. I'm so tired. Like, honestly, hold on. Minor tangent really quick. While I was researching overstimulation, let me go back in my notes. Hold on. So while I was researching chronic overstimulation, I came across a few really interesting pieces of information that don't necessarily fit into like what I wanted to talk about, but we're here, so I'm just going to share them really quick because I thought they were really interesting. There are people who are way more susceptible to emotions. Some people may call it an empath. I think that's kind of like not necessarily the right word. The word that was used in the article was highly sensitive people. When someone close to you is going through a really tough time, you almost can feel their pain. Very empathetic. But also, if you're watching a sad movie, you're way more likely to feel those emotions that are being portrayed so much more deeply. And highly sensitive people actually make up about 20% of the population, which I thought was so interesting. Like, I know that I am a very sensitive person. So this article is more geared towards highly sensitive people. But in it, they were talking about how highly sensitive people are more likely to be chronically overstimulated. So one of the common signs of chronic overstimulation that was in this article was that you feel extremely tired even though you've gotten enough sleep. I am very adamant about my sleep, okay? I used to struggle with intense insomnia. And so once I finally got my circadian rhythm in check, I have stuck to it. I wake up at 5:30 every weekday, go to bed by 10. On the weekends, I get up at 6. Like, I do not want to break that circadian rhythm. Just because it was so detrimental, like being up for 24 hours at a time or more to my mental health and my physical health. I bring all of this up because I've just felt so tired all the time. I get 8 hours of sleep pretty much every single night. I am well rested, okay? But I'm just always exhausted. And I don't know if that's in part because of the emotional turmoil that I have undergone in the last 4 months. But I found that interesting because I have been chronically overstimulating myself and I just feel this intense exhaustion all the time. Anyway, sorry. Tangent is over now. But I just wanted to mention that. I thought it was very interesting because I know I'm not the only one, especially now, who is constantly on their phone and is constantly tired. And I'm wondering if those two things are more correlated than we think they are. Anyway, in order to move forward and to get myself out of this funk that I've been in and to find my path again, I knew I needed to make 2 major changes in my life. 1, I needed to spend more time in my default mode network. And number 2, I need to establish my own structure, my own routine. I have been in school for a very long time, okay? On and off, I will say. But I have finally graduated, and I have felt very lost. School is very structured. You have assignments due at this day, these tests, there's a curriculum, right? And I have found myself feeling a bit lost, and I think part of the reason for that is because I'm no longer in school. I no longer have that set structure. Before we dive into that, I want to backtrack a little bit to how I'm going to spend more time in my default mode network. Through all my research on the default mode network and overstimulation, the number one thing that came up time and time again was to allow yourself to be bored. This one is very hard for me. I don't even know why. My screen time really wasn't that crazy until very recently. So I don't know why I have this intense aversion to being bored, but I definitely do. I hate the feeling of boredom, especially more so now that I've kind of been overstimulating myself. It's even harder to sit in boredom. So I have a few strategies that I came up with that I'm going to be trying to implement over time. The first strategy I'm going to try is I'm going to try very hard to not sleep with YouTube on. Not only does it disrupt your sleep cycles, we know that has been proven that if you have music with words playing, or if you have a podcast or a YouTube video, it changes the way you sleep. Like your brain, I think if I remember correctly, you aren't in REM sleep as often if you have something with words playing while you're sleeping. So that might help my tiredness as well. Okay. Honestly, I didn't really think about that until right now. But that could also be part of the reason why I feel exhausted all the time. So I think that one's going to be very difficult for me, because I have been sleeping with YouTube on for literal years, probably since like COVID, since like 2020. I've been sleeping with audio in the background every single night. So it's going to be a challenge, but I wanted to start with one that is a little bit more difficult. So it's kind of like over the hill, you know, like I'm at the peak of the mountain already. It's only downhill from here. The next thing I'm going to try is to eat and to cook without watching a video or scrolling on Instagram. Again, I used to do this. I don't really know where. It was actually also probably around COVID. But my family used to not have TV on while we ate. No. We had family dinner time. Okay, we talked about our high points of the day. We talked about our low points of the day. We communicated with each other. We do not do that now. We watch TV while we eat. So that's going to be the second thing I'm implementing. Third is to spend time meditating daily. I'm going to try and start with just 5-minute unguided meditation sessions and see how long I can build myself up to. And another one that I'm going to be trying immediately is spending the first hour of my day without any stimulation. No YouTube, no music, no podcast, no scrolling. Honestly, I don't think that one is going to be too much of a problem for me. Usually I just put on music without any lyrics when I first wake up. So I don't think it's going to be too difficult for me to go without that. My next strategy is that I'm going to be starting low stimuli hobbies. And what I mean by that is things I can do with my hands that don't take a lot of mental energy, they don't take a lot of physical energy, but it's something to do, if that makes sense. One of my goals for February is to learn how to crochet, so that's going to be my number one. I also want to get back into cross stitching. I have a few patterns that I have all the floss for, so I want to do that again. The trick with this one is to not have anything on in the background. That kind of defeats the purpose. Like, we want to activate our default mode network, right? And if you have a movie on while you're crocheting, you're not going to be activating it. And lastly, I'm going to be limiting my screen time. Listen, okay, I really, up until my life just went down the drain. I was really good about my screen time. I was 2 hours or less, honestly, every single day. But with my terrible coping mechanisms, I have now been spending upwards of 8 hours on social media a day. This ice maker is killing me! She's so loud. Is it not getting louder? Hello? I feel like it's getting progressively louder and louder and louder. I can't. Girl, shut up! Okay, sorry. I just could not take it. That was like 5 minutes. I don't even know where I was. Oh, 8 hour plus screen time. Yeah. Ugh. So I am going to be limiting my screen time through, I don't know, honestly, I can't find a really good free option, but I'm gonna keep looking. And when I find one, I will be sure to tell you guys because my phone is killing me, literally. But I do have an option if you got money like that, okay? Brick makes a product that will basically lock your phone out of social media for as long as you are away from the physical device. Did I explain that good? I don't know. I do plan on investing in one of these. They are $60, but I just have not been able to justify it right now, okay? But I'm going to because, girl, my phone is killing me. I do have some options for computers, some screen time locks. So there's a game on Steam, which sounds counterintuitive, but hear me out. It is called Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions. It is $12, and I am going to try to just keep that open and not YouTube and see if that helps with my focus. So it is just lo-fi beats without any lyrics, which I think will be helpful. There is also a free browser extension for Chrome. I use Vivaldi and it works for that, so I think it's just anything that uses Google, honestly. It's a Google extension just called Screen Time, and it's been pretty helpful as well. Moving on to adding more structure and routine to my life, I came across this video by Body Mel, who is a YouTuber here on YouTube, who does a monthly curriculum for themselves. And I loved the idea, so I went ahead and made my own for February. Girl, I'm so proud of this spread. I feel like it turned out really well. Can you see? So this is my February curriculum. Okay, I'm gonna go through it. So I have 4 little modules for this month. My first one is called Keep Learning. I am going to read 1 fiction book this month, which I have already chosen. I'm going to read Razorblade Tears. I'm really excited. My mom was telling me about it, and it seems so interesting. I'm like hooked just on the premise. But I am also going to read a nonfiction book, which I actually started in January. So I'm going to finish this one before I start Razorblade Tears. This is Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. If you haven't read any Ryan Holiday books, I definitely recommend. He is probably my favorite like modern day philosopher. He talks a lot about stoicism, and not like the dude bro stoicism, like actual stoicism. Definitely recommend checking out his books. If you want a good starter one, I started with Stillness is the Key. And I think that is a really good starter into his philosophy. Next up, I am going to read or watch and take notes on 1 Substack article or TED Talk per day. So far, I've been doing really good. The only day I missed was yesterday, actually. But I'm going to make up for it, and I'm going to do 2 today. Okay, so it balances out. And lastly, for my Keep Learning module, I am going to journal on the daily Stoic prompt every single day. This is another Ryan Holiday book. It is like a daily meditations book. And it is also on Stoicism. Each month has a different category that they talk about. And it's just really enlightening. I love him. He's awesome. My next module is self-care and self-love. So I'm really trying to take care of myself and learn to love me and accept me as I am, okay? So I went to Half Price Books and I got a few different little workbooks for this module. I'm going to be doing one page of this book, the 5-Minute Self-Care Journal for Women. Even though I'm not a woman, but AFAB, I feel like it should just say AFAB. It's been really nice. It's very comprehensible and it's just one page per day. Very manageable, honestly. If you've read, random little book recommendation really quick. Atomic Habits, James Clear. I'm sure you've heard of it if you are in the self-help sphere, but habit stacking legitimately works. It's so amazing. It works so well. So I already have the habit of journaling every day. So I just tack this book on at the end of my journaling session. And it's worked out really well. Haven't missed a day. In my self-care and self-love module, I am also doing one chapter of the self-love workbook, one chapter per week. And on top of that, I am also doing one act of self-care, a physical self-care act with intention per week. My next module is content creation. Okay, here we are, girl. So one thing I'm doing in this module is researching the YouTube algorithm because I don't understand the algorithm. My goal is to create one reel on Instagram per week. Follow my Instagram, it'll be somewhere on the screen, okay? And I'm going to try to create 2 YouTube videos this month, okay? One down if you're seeing this. And my last module for February is activism. In honor of Black History Month, I'm going to be researching one prominent figure from the civil rights movement and just kind of doing a deep dive on them. And I kind of want to pick someone who is not like one of the big names that everyone knows about. So I'm excited to dive into that. I plan on starting that today, actually, after I edit this video. Another goal in my activism module is to get involved with the local DSA chapter, the Democratic Socialist Association. Association? Girl. It's for Democratic Socialists. My friend actually introduced me to DSA and I'm really excited to get involved with it. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to attend a DSA meeting this month. And lastly, for my activism module is I want to attend a protest. I know the next No Kings protest, I want to say is in March. But I'm going to try to attend an Ice Out protest if I can. That is my February curriculum, but I do have a few other goals and I have my bingo card that I made for February. In my goals, I have read 2 books, work out 3 times a week, which I'm already slipping on a little bit. I did not go today, but I digress. I'm going to be getting a Friday the 13th piercing with my best friend. That's one of my goals. I'm going to apply for my esthetician license since I passed both my written and my practical last month. Let's go. And I want to attend a protest. For my February bingo card, I will show it here. But I've only crossed off one so far. I actually got free tickets to the Twice concert. What a gag. They were so good, girl. And we were so close. Hello. We were so close. I made a bingo card for 2026 with my best friend. And it was so fun that I kind of want to do one every month. So I might end up doing that. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for listening to me ramble and watching the video. If you would like to give me a like and a subscribe, that would be awesome. I don't know how to do this YouTuber stuff, okay? But I will see you guys very shortly because I'm gonna upload 2 videos this month, okay? And I guess I'll see you next time.